Hey, sinners. Today's Ask Cynthia is one that's very near and dear to my heart and a topic I'm really interested in and have been since the 1990s. And that's trying to get off the grid, trying to understand where you're vulnerable with your information and how it becomes a thing out there that people can creep on you or stalk on you or use to investigate you. I always joke that the difference between the stalker and the investigator is that, well, we get paid. Anyway, today's topic also springboards off of HG's partnership with 360 Privacy and how we look at people's digital vulnerability and make assessments of it and then help them mitigate and remove that information. So if you're interested, please stop by our website and talk to one of our sales reps, and I'm sure they can walk you through it. But if you're interested in what my writer wrote today, I'm just going to go ahead and read their question and talk about the problem statement is I want to get off the grid. How do I start? So I look at this as the user wanting to run away and disappear into the woods somewhere and get off the grid and stop being something that is under this massive surveillance state that we feel pressing down on us every single day. Let's just clear the air. You can't get away from it. You can't leave a surveillance state any more than you could stop breathing. I mean, technically you can, but then that would put you in a position where we're then pulling your obituaries and reading your death notices, which is still open source information. So though that is grim, that is the honest truth. What we can do is we could take you from being a ghost and maybe turn you more into a shadow. Maybe not so pervasive and so obvious that your information is everywhere all the time, capturable and retrievable. But we can say, well, look, if you follow a couple different rules of engagement, you can minimize the impact of what is available about you and your family and where that is. The best way to do that, honestly, is by starting to understand where that information shows up to begin with. And it starts at day one. I mean, in the United States, the Social Security Administration will issue a Social Security number before a baby is even born. That's talk about, pervasive. That is certainly the state coming in and saying, here's a data point we're going to start measuring you by. And it follows you your entire life. You go into school, you get a vehicle, maybe you join the military, you get into college, you buy a home, driver's license, passports. All these interactions we have with the government creates a public record that's searchable and findable. You could go to other states, excuse me, you could go to other countries and say, well, they're more respectful of privacy. And yes, there are other countries that even in their constitution have right to privacy as a law and mandate of the country that it's part of, except everyone still pays taxes and everyone still has an opportunity to own a home. And there's still a record of that information and your footprint is still findable. After doing investigations for over 25 years, there's not a country or a place in this world where you could truly disappear. I find people who say, well, that's not true, I could really fall off the grid myself. The best example of that was in a book about a modern day hermit called The Stranger in the Woods. It was about Christopher Knight. He disappeared in the middle of the Maine woods and didn't resurface until 27 years later. Enough of the people near the campsites where he actually lived and camped out for decades finally started reporting that their homes were being burglarized during winter months when they were locked up and not summer camping. And the complaints became pervasive. And then law enforcement then started using modern day technology and captured this stranger, this man breaking into people's homes and stealing things like supplies, food, whatever it was. It is a great book, though. I would recommend it. It was written by Mike Finkel. Interesting story to hear how somebody can actually separate themselves from everything. Oddly enough, when he was interviewed afterwards by the author, he talks about things he did enjoy, and all of it was wrapped around modern conveniences, like, listening to someone's music or enjoying a luxury. See, those are the things that keep us tied to society, and anything that ties us to society is a data point that is captured and used. I have these reduce the footprint items in the attached article about like stopping participating in things like social media, which should be kind of the obvious, going to a cash lifestyle versus a credit lifestyle, blending in and hiding in plain sight is absolutely a great way to go when you're not remarkable. people don't tend to remember you as much, although that makes you not remarkable. And we all want to stand out in a crowd until we don't. And then dependencies and then rethinking. Really, my best clue here is to rethink your goal. Instead of going for that complete erasure or being the ghost, why don't you think about becoming more of the shadow and making yourself just another data point and not a data pivot where you have to really think about where you're looking at every last bit of information. Um, Finally, most importantly, and this always comes up when I'm talking to a new customer or we're again working with a company like a 360 Privacy, and we're doing this erasure of all of your data points on the internet and making sure that you and your family enjoy a sense of privacy to at least a normal standard. What do you, I mean, I don't mean to make this sound harsh, but what are you hiding from? What is your threat that you're concerned about? Are you the CEO of a major company that is, really shaking the mindsets of individuals in the country, and you feel like people are going to hunt you down and try to dissuade you of your opinions or your ideologies? Are you afraid for your life and your liberty? Or are you just annoyed that information is being tracked about you and you think that that's too invasive and you would prefer to not have that happening? When you really start looking and you start vetting the information points and the information about yourself and your personal sense of security, that's when you could start making your threat plan and you could start creating something that's a little bit more realistic. Again, shadow over ghost every day. I hope this is helpful. Again, if you have any questions for me, Ask Cynthia. You're more than welcome to just drop them in the DM or go ahead and drop us an email. I look forward to the next video. Talk to you soon.